Okay, so just a few thoughts on my driving impressions of the 2019 Mercedes-Benz E300 4Matic. This car is largely unchanged from 2018. Very minor change in the steering wheel. They went to a 3-spoke multi-function wheel. So not a big change there. The back seat is nice and large. And the front seat, I'll show you here as I step in. Here's the new 3-spoke wheel. So not a big change there. Lots of buttons. Typical German car with tons of buttons and knobs. And it does take a little time to learn. So this car is a lower level car as far as options go. This one stickers at $62,270, and I'll show you the window sticker here. This has the 12.3-inch display, which is a really nice display. So this one has just the premium package and the parking assistance package, and then a few standalone options that are the comfort box, the pre-wiring for rear seat entertainment, the Burmester surround sound system, heated steering wheel. So not a lot of options on it. It does come with the standard motor, which is the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, 241 horsepower, 273 foot-pounds of torque. They do now have a 9-speed automatic in these, which is a really nice transmission, and it definitely helps motivate the car because the horsepower is a little low, but the 9-speed helps a lot. Here are the fuel economy ratings: 24 combined, 21 city, 29 highway. And based on my driving so far, that's been accurate. So over 1,000 miles on this, which I haven't driven all of 1,000, it averaged 25.8. And by the way, this, you can scroll on this here on that button to give your different options under the trip setting. And then if you scroll side to side, you can move from one setting to another. And if you hit the home button over here, that takes you to the main screen on the larger display. And if we select vehicle, for instance, this also has the lowered suspension with adaptive damping. So you can configure the car here. Drive has a number of settings, including manual, because it does have paddle shifters. So if you want to shift it manually, you can, although the computer does take over to some degree no matter what you're doing. And steering, comfort or sport, and then suspension, comfort, sport, and sport plus. The other thing that's kind of neat on this is engine data. So if the car were moving, it would show you the horsepower the motor is producing and the pound-feet of torque that the motor is producing, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if it's incredibly helpful, but just interesting to watch. Also gives you the oil temperature and the battery voltage. And another kind of interesting feature is ambient lighting on this, which you can set to numerous different colors and settings. So right now it's on multicolor, and if if you're going to be able to see. It might be too bright outside, but right now it's purple, and it goes across the door right underneath the seat controls and the speaker, and then across the dashboard, and also goes underneath the wood inlay in the center console right down here, and then also into the door handle well. And as you can see, it's a nicely appointed interior. My biggest complaint with this car is probably the engine. It's buzzy and noisy, and not a silky smooth engine that I would expect out of a Mercedes-Benz. If you go to the new E450, which used to be the E400, you can get a V6 that, my guess is much smoother than this four-cylinder. This is the same four-cylinder they put in the C-Class. And quite frankly, I had pretty high expectations for the E when I first drove this new one, because it's not a cheap car, and I expected it to be head and shoulders above a C-Class. The C-Class is nice enough, but it's markedly less expensive, and so I can forgive some of its shortcomings because of its price. Harder to do on this car. At 62, that's a low-end E-Class. This car will go over 70 if you get it fully equipped, and at that point, there's a lot of cars you can buy for that kind of money. So that motor, in my opinion, was less than ideal. If you go into the E450, that car is about $4,000 more in base price. And if you're a car guy like me, it's probably worth it. And I'm just trying to show you some of the buttons here as I'm talking, because it's got a lot of features on it. This dynamic button down here will adjust your drive settings on the fly. Which is kind of nice, so while you're driving you can adjust it. But for what it's worth, that's my 2 cents. Like I said, you can go to the E450 and get what I would guess is a much smoother engine. The other complaint I had, which was minor, but some people may not love it, is the suspension tends to ride towards the harsh side, stiffer than what I would expect out of this car. That was kind of surprising when I first started driving it, and of course you can adjust it to even stiffer settings. I have it on comfort and it's still a little on the stiff side. So see for yourself. But just a couple of notes, and if you have comments, please let me know, and thanks for watching.